I can never wait. Dini taste kada maaki kirikiri mastu nadi itta chesukovala. Super. Why me all the time? Sometimes we have to let the experts take the center stage. So here is our very famous Bujji. You've seen her last year also. So she is a specialist at making Jowar Ki Roti because she's got 4 kids, mother-in-law, father-in-law and brother-in-law and family. She can make 20-30 Jowar Ki Roti every meal. So she is an expert. Before we milled the sorghum, what we did was we took 1 kg of sorghum and 100 grams of rice. Then we milled it. So we have the flour. Because sorghum doesn't have gluten, when you make the roti, it will tear apart. But the rice flour in it will help you make the Jowar Ki Roti much more easier. But still, you got to use the hot water for this roti. Now, pour in the hot water, but don't put your fingers right away. So, put a ladle and mix it. What this does is the dough is nice and hot and it will absorb the moisture, and mix it as rapidly as you can. Watch her fingers, how fast she is doing, because that's bloody hot. She has moved all the flour on one side, that is to make sure that the heat remains and it doesn't cool down much easier. Now look at the small portion she is taken aside, and with little more water now knead the dough. This is how you have to make every roti with a single dough mixture. Don't try to mix the entire thing at one time. Make individual roti. In the meantime, I will keep the tawa ready. Make that into a nice round shape dough. Now, the technique of making this roti. Apply some dry flour. The dough, believe me, is still very hot. Now look at the way she is making the dough. So now with help of her hands, making the Jowar Ki Roti. At this point of time, if the flour is not enough, it will start tearing. Apply a little bit of water. So Bujji is little nervous going live on the show. Okay, turn it to the other side, apply more flour and as fast as possible. When my parents come, Queen Victoria also enjoy this. Everybody can make, but they want to pass on the effort to somebody who can make it much more easier. That little bit of rice added to this flour also keeps the roti nice and softer. So now, very carefully pass it on to the hottest tawa possible. So don't try to remove it, apply moisture. If you try to remove, it will tear apart. So just apply the moisture. Now, when it is getting cooked, when you can see, she is telling me don't touch it. Okay? When it starts drying out a little bit, that's when you know it is cooked, so that you will be able to rotate. Everybody prefers their Jowar Ki Roti cooked differently. My father prefers it well done, and once you loosen it up, rotate it for very good coloring. When it's cooked on one side, turn it to the other side, look at it. It takes a little longer to cook this one, and when you can make sure that the color is evenly done, no oil onto it, just dry cooking, and it will be done perfectly. I can never wait, and this Jowar Ki Roti is hot off the tawa, best. Nice. There was a time when they used to wrap this in a cloth, but now into a silver foil, and I'm going to take some for my dad also. Thanks to our Jowar Ki Roti specialist Bujji, you've seen how the Jowar Ki Roti is made, and the next is mutton curry. But that is going to be after you see this little video about sorghum. Sorghum, the jowar, which has made a transition from poor man's staple food to rich man's desired healthy food. I wanted to get a lot of birds in my farm, and somebody suggested you throw in some sorghum seeds. My intention was not to harvest, but to attract birds. And exactly that is what happened. And the bonus was I was able to harvest some of the sorghum seeds. And they attract so many birds. The birds come especially when the sorghums are tender to eat them. So leftover I was able to harvest some. There are two kinds of sorghums that we grow. One is white and the other one is slightly greenish yellow. And a lot of people locally here prefer that yellowish sorghum. Today I can clearly boast about the way I have harvested the sorghum. I have done it the same way that has been done for thousands of years. But clearly my recipe cannot boast the same because I am using chili powder, and we didn't have chili powder before 400-500 years ago. I don't think they cared so much about the spicy food. Just the food was more important. Earlier, during the rainy season, they used to grow the yellow kind of sorghum, and the white one is grown during the non-rainy seasons because it can handle the arid climate much better. I am going to show you this recipe that I would do it because I want it to be super tasty. For this, first we're going to add some oil in a pan. A little extra oil, never mind, in the mutton curries. In this, add onions. No garam masala, nothing, just onion, and let these onions slightly color. When the onions are slightly colored, add the meat and let it cook till the meat is also slightly colored. That's when the meat is very, very tasty, because this curry is going to be a little bit gravish, but not too much of masalas or anything, more of chili powder. The chili powder has to be added at a time that it retains a nice red color curry. And when you eat it with Jowar Ki Roti, this is mind blowing. Technique we use in a 5-star hotels to make the best mutton curry that is super tasty is slightly brown the meat and then make it into a curry, and your curry will be mwah, mwah, mwah. This little malad effect is enough. In this, add some turmeric, add lot of ginger garlic paste, but this is freshly ground ginger garlic paste. Add coriander powder. Just 5 minutes before this recipe gets done, that's when we're going to add chili powder, because we want to retain that nice red color which we people from Telangana love it, whether it is for weddings or with Jowar Ki Roti. Now add water. Add lot of water and let this cook on a slow flame for almost 45-50 minutes till the meat is nice and tender. This meat is from the mature goat. This was from our farm only, cut by Pranav. When we are working in the hotels, we train as students. We got to work in the butchery, so we know how to, bone, debone, boneless, whatever cuts you want. But a lot of people prefer tender goat for the curries. But only the mature goat cooked for a little longer time will give you that taste that is excellent and perfect for Indian curries. When you kind of saute the mutton and then make a gravy, even the aroma you can see how different and awesome it is. Now, the mutton is almost nice and tender. This is when we add the chili powder. This chili powder will give a very nice color. Add a little bit of garam masala. That's it. You do not want to add anything else. Coconut and poppy seed paste, which is very popular in Telangana. No. When you eat it this way. And a lot of people love to add the coconut, tomatoes and all that. In Telangana especially, people, they will frown upon when you add these things, because they say if you add it, you will not be able to relish or eat enough quantity of meat. So provide enough quantity of meat and add the chili powder in the last 5, 6, 7 minutes so that it doesn't discolor and it gives a nice red color to the gravy. And of course, the kind of chili powder you add also matters. So nice. Now, let it cook. We're going to add a little bit of coriander leaves and slow cooking, and when you put the lid on, you leave it for a few minutes, then the oil will start floating on top. Only then you serve this. She said, I made the Jowar Ki Roti. You have to add little Jowar flour also in this. And she says, when more people are there, you add a little bit of Jowar Ki atta in this. This will give a little bit of thickness to the curry. Thank you, Amma. Thank you very much. So, it will give a kind of sticky consistency, which is excellent, especially with the mutton curry. Look at this, slightly thickened consistency, and add some coriander, put the lid on, switch off the flame. Now the Jowar Ki Roti is also ready. Let's serve and enjoy this mutton curry with Jowar Ki Roti. Absolutely boomba boomba. Look at this mutton. Wow. The curry is also perfect. As I told you earlier, poor used to eat Jowar Ki Roti and rice was eaten by wealthy. But the tables have turned. Now the rich people, they are preferring these millets. And the country is also celebrating the millet festival. The roti on the side, the Jowar Ki Roti, dip it in. My God. The mutton curry is just good. Do not add all the spices. Only the chili powder has to give the full aroma. This is a mutton curry made from the mature goat, and that's when it's going to be so tasty. Super hot. There is a consistency that this gravy has attained because of adding little Jowar Ki flour and thanks to our bujji. Super. Ma kikiri. Mastu nadi itta yeskoala. Super.